All right, what is up? We are live. Got a little bit of stuff to cover here today. Big day for NASCAR, NASCAR news, and I can't say that any of it is positive. So let me start off with what I was going to start off with because obviously the penalties dropped today, and that's what everybody wants to talk about. So let's get this out of the way real quick. NASCAR fans were called bots because they don't like the current playoff system. So if you're unfamiliar with it, Denny Hamlin was on Action Detrimental, and I'm getting this quote from the Daily Downforce. The link is in the chat somewhere up there if you want to follow along. But this is the quote that they gave from the Actions Detrimental podcast, where Denny Hamlin said, "I talked to Mike Ford a little bit last night. NASCAR comms. I said, man, I mean, you got this format getting hammered on the net," and he's like, it's bots, it's not real people. And so I said, okay, I mean, you can turn a blind eye if you want to, you can be in denial, but numbers don't lie. Numbers never lie. That was Denny Hamlin on his Actions Detrimental podcast. And I think Denny Hamlin more or less completely nailed how the fans feel. A lot of fans, even the fans that want a playoff, want this playoff format at least fixed or amended. And I know a lot of people have resigned themselves to the fact that TV wants a playoff. So the people that have resigned themselves, or they're just okay with the fact that you've got a playoff here, even the playoff system we have, they want it modified or amended. So Mike Ford, NASCAR Director of Communications, goes on Twitter in a response to somebody else, and he says, "Yeah, not exactly how the exchange with Denny Hamlin went. Said Twitter X generally has an abundance of bots, but I guess I could see how that could be misconstrued. Trust me, I see many of the fan tweets about the playoffs and they have pulses." Okay, so that was you're the director of communications. So one, you're either completely full of it, because I really doubt seriously that Denny Hamlin would lie about that, or B, you completely suck at your job because you're the director of communications and you said something that could be misconstrued. More likely what happened is you're just following the NASCAR company line, where NASCAR continues to bury their head in the sand about the playoffs, and they're just la 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 la, don't want to hear it from the fans, even though the fans overwhelmingly, even the fans that support a playoff system, they want the playoff format changed because of basically what happened at Martinsville and basically what has happened throughout this year. It has really sort of turned people sour to this version of the playoffs, and NASCAR just continues to bury its head in the sand and act like nothing is wrong. And when they get called out on it, they go to the old tried and true, "Oh, my words were misconstrued." Like, dude, just say you said something stupid. Just say what you said was dumb, apologize for it, and move on. Don't pull the old, "Oh, my words were misconstrued." Don't gaslight us. That's gaslighting 101. You misconstrued my words. So that's gaslighting 101 from the communications expert, or the director there at NASCAR. Then he goes on to say, "I'm not going to share the whole conversation with Denny because that's not fair to him." You know, you're not going to share the whole conversation. Once again, gaslighting, because you don't like what it has to say about you, most likely. But he suggested that Twitter X was the information capital of the world. I said that's a tricky statement because there are a ton of bots. It wasn't a direct reference to NASCAR topics, but it was a direct reference to NASCAR topics because he was specifically talking to you about the playoffs. So once again, gaslighting from Mike Ford, communications director, and it continues to make fans feel like they're being ignored, and NASCAR is just going to do what the TV partners do. And it's going to come to a head where fans just have to stop watching TV. The ratings are going to have to go down so that the TV partners will listen to the fans, and the TV partners will tell NASCAR, okay, it's okay to listen to the fans now. That's basically the only way this thing's going to get fixed, is the fans are going to have to stop watching this. So I don't know. I guess that's what NASCAR wants. NASCAR wants the fans to show them by not watching that we don't like this anymore. So that's a hard ass line to draw in the sand, but apparently that is the line that NASCAR is going to draw in the sands here. So now that I'm good and fired up about that, let's talk about the penalties from Martinsville. So the one car is basically all the cars involved directly, I guess, are going to get some suspensions. So let's read them off here. The one car is going to be missing Chief Operating Officer Tony Lunders, Crew Chief Phil Surgeon, and Spotter Brandon McReynolds. The 3 car is going to miss competition director Keith Rodden, Justin Alexander, the crew chief, and spotter Brandon Benesh. And the 23 car is also going to lose their director of competition, Dave Rogers, crew chief Booty Barker, and spotter Freddie Kraft. Those are the ones that are getting the suspensions here from the Martinsville thing. And this is from NASCAR. Let me grab this link right here that I'm looking at. So this is where I'm reading it here from NASCAR.com. And there you go. So there you go. And that is that. So that's that. So as far as that goes, they probably earned that suspension or whatever. I don't necessarily have a problem with those guys being suspended. I'm surprised the drivers didn't get suspended for a race as well. But it still taints the final deal because at the end of the day, I think the best move here, now that basically it's all come out and it was collusion from Chevrolet, it was collusion from Toyota. I think the best move here is just to have 3 cars in the final 4 because even though William Byron, the driver, didn't have anything to do directly with it, his team, Hendrick Motorsports, did have something directly to do with it. Whether you want to say it or not, via Chevrolet, or Chevrolet orchestrated the whole thing, however you want to look at it. So the person that benefits from this is not being punished. So the only really fair thing to do in this situation is just to have 3 cars in the final 4, because otherwise somebody's basically getting away with something, if that makes any sense. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes over now that all this information is out there. But I really, honestly, to me, and I think Jeff Gluck threw this out here. I'm remembering the right person. But yeah, I'm on team only 3 cars in the final 4, because otherwise the person who benefits from this got no punishment at all, even though it's not necessarily William Byron's fault. It's not like he intentionally was driving slow just to cause all of this and make this all this stuff happen. So he wasn't doing it intentionally, but it was orchestrated by the other manufacturers. And of course, Toyota was trying to orchestrate something to get Christopher Bell in the playoffs as well. So you can't have either one of them in the playoffs, and you can't go to the next person in line either, because that's just going to open up another can of worms. That a can of worms that kind of has been opened up with the Joey Logano, Alex Bowman getting thrown out situation as well. A lot of fans didn't like that either. So it's just been a very tumultuous season for this version of the playoffs, and I think a lot of people are upset by it. So I think the move here for me, if I was doing it, which I'm not, but I think the move here would actually be to have 3 cars instead of 4 in the playoffs. I think that's the move. All right. That's the news. Covered it so far, and we're just gonna jump into the chat and see what you guys think about it, what you want to talk about. Poll question is just a viewer submission poll question. I might change it up here in a minute, but if the final race is moved, I said from Homestead, but I meant Phoenix. Where should NASCAR hold the playoff finale? Homestead, Vegas, Indy Oval, or Darlington. So right now, 28% Darlington, 8% Indy Oval, 12% Vegas, and 52% saying Homestead. So Homestead carrying it right now. And I might change it up in just a minute and see if you guys think the penalties are fair. So let's jump into it. Only one of the Toyota drivers I like, says Crystal Sparkles. Freddie got fingered, talking about Freddie Kraft, and of course a reference to the movie. Robert Stone, if you don't penalize the 24 and the 20, you're wasting your time. Any manufacturer would gladly pay the fine to get a car in. 100% agree with you. That's why I'm saying I 100% agree with you. That's why I'm saying if you don't take the 24 out of the playoffs, then basically it's a no penalty for Chevrolet, because they just look at that as money well spent to get a car into the same thing for Toyota. If Toyota was to get their driver in there, just money well spent to get their driver into the playoffs or to the final 4. Or they don't call it the final 4. That's basketball, but the championship 4, I guess, trademarks and such. Anytime Martin Truex Jr. runs a one-off automatic win for me, just like when Kyle Busch runs Xfinity or a truck race. Yeah, so Martin Truex Jr. I'm glad you brought that up. Martin Truex Jr. is going to have his OG paint scheme from DEI Bass Pro, the burgundy with the goldish bright yellow trim. So that's a good looking car. Even got it's not the full like E, because that's still under trademark, but they got it pushed where the curve would be, where the tire's at. So they did a pretty good job with it, recreating it as best you could. My current projection is 95% of fans and bots. Apparently, we are not in favor of this current format. 5% are in favor of keeping them phony and crowning a champion with the very illegitimate way. Yeah, so that goes back to what I think is going on. It's skewing so much because they're letting TV sort of lead them by the collar. TV is always going to skew toward entertainment. So, do you want a meritocratic sport, which all sports should be meritocratic, or do you want entertainment? And if you want entertainment, you're going the WWE Monster Jam route. So it's tricky. They probably need to rein back this particular style of the playoffs and come up with at least a better version of the playoffs, because they're not going to get rid of the playoffs. Obviously, that's a TV driven deal. The drivers need suspensions first and foremost. They're the ones that pulled the trigger. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. Hey, BB just got done with his poll worker duties. Appreciate you being a poll worker there, Jamie Schweitzer. The penalties for the 3 and the 1. And by the way, I did vote today. So there you go. Voted over here. So hopefully that turns out. We're not going to talk about that. Just hopefully everybody voted, and we'll leave it at that. Let's see. The penalties for the 3 and the 1 mean nothing. I'm sure that Chevy and or Hendrick will make them up. Says Bruce Garvey. Yeah, no doubt. So that would be the move if there's a huge financial penalty. You would hope, of course, that Chevrolet and Hendrick would step in there and pay it for them. Joe Gibbs, of course, hopefully would pay it for 23-11. Y'all think is going to win the championship, says Crystal Sparkles. That's anybody's guess. I would lean toward the 2 Penske cars. Penske seems to be really good at that track, so I'm leaning toward one of the Penske. I don't know which one, but I would lean toward a Penske car for the dub. Here's an idea, Mr. BB. Have a Final Four fun, a race amongst themselves, 4 cars on the track. Maximum hype, says FIA 390. Yeah, I mean that could be maybe a route that they go with in the future, because I don't know. We've seen what happened at Martinsville, but there is a worse type of manipulation that could happen where somebody that's not involved in the playoffs takes out somebody that is in the championship 4. So don't think that Martinsville is the worst we could possibly see. Now I hope that doesn't happen, but I mean the way this season has gone, just been like. So I'm not gonna say it's not gonna happen. DQ the 24 and the 20. Otherwise, it's letting your kid keep the bubble gum and think they learned their lesson, says Robert Stone. I'm with you. I 100% agree with you. NASCAR should have suspended the drivers to give this much more validity, says Lloyd Barnes. I think so too. Cold in Indy in November, raining and cold. Let's see. I'm gonna put up on J-Ski and see if they've got anything else updated as far as the penalties go. Let's see. Nope, just a spotter. Somebody apparently laid hands on an official though. So that J-Ski does have that. I didn't know that. So that's interesting. But yeah, drivers are I'm still surprised the drivers weren't suspended for one race. But yeah, so far as I know, no driver was suspended, which you would think automatically that would be that would be with all the other people suspended. That would be what happens. Cold night in Indy in November, raining and cold, says Robert Stone. Warm up with a BB hoodie from the link here that one wise guy dropped. On the go with CeeLo. What's up, my man? Always on the streams during race days. So check him out if you want to watch a race day stream. On the go with CeeLo. This will be the lowest watch championship for since the playoff started. Book it. I don't doubt it. If I wasn't doing this for the YouTube channel, I would think about skipping it myself, because it's just I think a lot of people have a bad taste in their mouth. Lloyd Barnes saying what's up to CeeLo. One wise guy dropping the merch link. Much appreciated, one wise guy. On the go saying what's up to Lloyd. B saying what's up to CeeLo. Let's just put Denny and Larson in there in the Final Four and let's go. Says on the go with CeeLo. I mean, crazier things have happened. It would be. I will say this: whoever wins, let's take some positive spin to it. Whoever wins, what would be the storyline? Like Reddick, he would be. I think the first one since Larson that won the regular season and the and the playoff championship if he wins. Joey Logano, it would be his third championship. Ryan Blaney, it would be 2 in a row. So those two good storylines right there. And if either of those drivers win, of course, it's going to be three in a row for Penske. So that would be the storyline there. And then if William Byron wins, the storyline's going to be he shouldn't have been in the playoffs, which could for some people, they're saying that about Joey Logano too. I don't necessarily agree with that. But if Byron wins, I feel like the overriding storyline will be he shouldn't have been in the playoffs. It was race manipulation. So I think if Byron wins, that's going to be a bigger story in a negative way, but I think you can put a positive spin on the other stories. Like I said, I think it should just be a championship 3 because it's just going to create more controversy than anything. If you have Byron or Bell in there, and to some extent, even if you put Kyle Larson in there, because some people would be like, that's just another Hendrick car. Hendrick still got what they wanted. Chevrolet still got what they wanted. So I think the only way to really do it fairly is to have a championship 3 this year instead of a championship 4 because it was just such blatant race manipulation. Even sitting in the stands, not knowing what was going on via radio or TV, it was very obvious what the 23 was doing. And I wasn't getting what was going on with the 24 car. I didn't know if he was holding 2 cars back or not because I was watching so many different things. But then, of course, on TV, they were explaining what was going on. So that one wasn't as obvious, but obviously you got the radio communication there. So that was 100% obvious when you're watching it, I guess, on TV. But the 23, watching from the stands, it was obvious because he just fell like a brick. I was like, "Ooh, he's giving up a spot." So you knew what was going on there. What's going on, CeeLo, says one wise guy. My answer is let the racing be the entertainment, says Napa Racing Fan. Exactly. If you want to skew toward entertainment, just let the sport be entertaining on its own. I agree with you 100%. I don't mind the eliminators, but I got to have the final 3 be not a single race, or the final 4 not be a single race for the final 4 guys. I agree. I think, me personally, I was okay with the original chase. The only reason they got rid of the original chase is because Jimmy Johnson kicked everybody's tail for several years. So they got rid of that. Jimmy Johnson ran off that version of the chase or playoffs, whatever you want to call it. Suspend Jeff Gordon, says Tim Race. So he wants Jeff Gordon suspended as well. Dale Jr. said on his show today that if Logano wins the championship, they should put an asterisk beside his name because he didn't actually qualify for the playoffs. Do y'all agree, says Lloyd Barnes? I don't necessarily agree with that because he did qualify for the playoffs because the 48 car missed weight. It was an illegal car, so he shouldn't get his points. So I don't necessarily agree with that statement. If that's what he said, I didn't. I watched the show, but I didn't catch that part of it. BB, what's the odds NASCAR sits down and draws up a board and sets a list of stuff they aren't gonna? And I'm sure he did say it. I'm just saying I probably zoned out during that part. Let's see. BB, what's the odds NASCAR sits down and draws up a board and sets a list of stuff they aren't gonna put up with? They need to take full control of the team orders situation. Yeah, so as far as team orders go, we see it all the time in F1. They need to either make a rule where you can either have team orders or they make a rule where there's no team orders. And I think they already have the 100%. Bob Hockers tweeted it out a few days ago about you have to give 100% effort at all times. So, yeah, they just need to they need to stop making vague rules so that they can make judgment calls, which is something I've talked about on here often. They need clear and concise rules, and NASCAR just refuses to do that. Because there's a big part of NASCAR that loves this. Like everybody's talking about NASCAR right now, and NASCAR doesn't care if it's good or bad because they've fallen into this false sense of Twitter engagement and social media engagement equals good for the sport. I don't necessarily think that that's always the case, but we will see. We've seen other organizations that fall in love with that social media presence and social media chatter, and we've seen it bite them directly in the butt. So I would be very careful if I was NASCAR about going this route, just skewing it completely toward entertainment and drama, because eventually it's going to be a drama so bad that people will stop watching. If this right here might be it, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell the future, but they're playing a dangerous game in my opinion. Why would you want another reality show? Says Robert Paul. Exactly. I'm with you. Tyler Reddick, Jordan Scheme, and from the Flip at Vegas is available for pre-order. So there you go. Tyler Reddick pre-order ready from Vegas. National Bologna Day. Happy belated, says Crystal Sparks. Appreciate you there, Crystal. The fact that the 10/24 is National Bologna Day. Sorry about that. The fact that the championship by default comes down to one race is so dumb. 100% agree with you on that. And the Latford points, five drivers would still contend for the title, but nah, the playoffs are way more entertaining. Yeah, I 100% agree. There's going to be some years, and that's just the thing. There's going to be some years where the playoffs are uninteresting, just like with the Latford system. There were going to be some years where the championship was already decided before the final race. So no matter what system you have, there's going to be years where it's just not entertaining. Like there could be a year where drivers that nobody cares about are in the final four, and that would hurt ratings. I think the ratings are going to be hurt this year just because of basically the race fixing or race manipulation that went on at Martinsville. That could dampen a lot of people's enthusiasm to watch that race. They might just watch football that day. NASCAR collecting those L's like Infinity Stones, says Charlotte Ander. I agree 100% with you. They have this entire playoffs. I can't remember too many positive stories other than maybe Tyler Reddick winning the race. That was big because that was just a huge moment for him. This would have been a huge moment for Ryan Blaney. This would have been super positive if it wasn't for the blatant race manipulation. So they took another positive Blaney story getting overshadowed by nonsense. Seems like that happens a lot. So yeah, I can't remember too many like great Austin Cindric, I guess. It's kind of playing a spoiler early on. I guess that was a good moment in the playoffs. But other than that, overwhelmingly the playoffs have had negative storylines, I'll say. And even before the playoffs, like the Austin Dillon thing, I feel like that was a negative storyline just going into the playoffs. So there's that. Christopher Bell's Ream scheme available for pre-order. Same scheme as this year's. Did you see Bell's post about guys wearing bow ties on X? Yep, Christopher Bell showing a little bit of personality there. Some people liked it, some people didn't. The brain saying Corvette. I was totally dumbfounded with the aftermath of Martinsville. I wasn't even mad, just confused. Felt terrible for Bell and Byron. We're put into this situation. So yeah, I don't disagree with that. It's not like Christopher Bell or William Byron, the drivers themselves, actually did anything. It was everybody surrounding them trying to get them into the playoffs that sort of catapulted them into this situation. So it's hard to have any hate on Byron or Bell. But the Chevrolet and Toyota trying to manipulate a situation, that's just bad. Like there's no other way around it. It's a terrible look for Chevrolet and for Toyota, in my opinion. Here's the Discord link from One Wise Guy. Appreciate you there. So if you want to check us out on Discord, we chit chat about this and that. Pat McAfee is more entertaining than Stephen A. Smith. ESPN thinks so because I think they paid him more money, and then I think Stephen A. Smith renegotiated to get just as much money or something like that. So yeah, ESPN definitely bet big on him. Watch Byron win the title now. I'll say this: Pat McAfee seems a lot more genuine than Stephen A. Smith. There's no way Stephen A. Smith is that excited about every topic he's talking about. So I'll say Pat McAfee seems more. He seems more real about the stuff he's talking about when he gets excited about it. I watch Byron win the title now after this. Not Byron, the goofy playoffs, as an Napa Racing fan. So there you go. That a lot of people are going to feel like that if he wins. And like I said, I guess Dale Jr. is going to feel like that. According to the comment earlier that somebody was saying, I guess he'll feel like that if Joey Logano wins because he feels like he lucked into the playoffs with the Byron penalty or the Bowman penalty, I should say. I think the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte should be the championship race, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, that's what we should do. Let's just crown the champion in the middle of the season and then just run the rest of the races. That would be cool. It makes about as much sense as the playoff system we have now. And I know what you meant by that. It should be the final race, but I just don't like this current format of the playoffs that they have. The head hauler guys got into it over the weekend. Okay, so the hauler guys got into it. NASCAR has ruined the sport they made, says Chad Murdoff. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say they ruined it, but they're not going in the right direction with this particular system. And the fans keep telling them that, and they keep not listening to the fans. Eventually, the fans will stop watching, and then it won't matter what TV tells them to do because nobody will be watching anyway. Truck race, let them talk. It says FIA 390. Cole Custer wasn't suspended for the Roval deal a few years ago, and he literally caused a roadblock in the middle of the track. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. I didn't think about the Cole Custer deal because everybody's throwing it about all the way back to Clint Boyer. So I guess I was more thinking about that. Hell, Clint Boyer might not have been penalized. I don't know. That was a long time ago. What are the odds that almost a decade or more than a decade? Was it 2013 or 2014? I can't remember. You guys will tell me later. What are the odds that the next February 2nd, the Clash held at Bowman Gray will not have good weather? Oh, it's North Carolina, man. So if you don't like the weather, it'll change. There's probably a good chance they get some type of precipitation, whether it be most likely rain, ice, or snow. One of the other. 2025 diecast has been canceled for Austin Dillon. The Dow car elite version, if I remember. Yeah. So I think the regular is still getting produced because I saw that on they're pushing that. I think RCR sent me an email about that one coming out. I'm ready for the season to end after that Martinsville nonsense. Sadly, a great race, but gets overlooked because this is how they decide champions. I've heard a lot of people give that sentiment. They're like, we're ready for the season to end, and I'm not even excited about Daytona. I've heard a lot of people say that, and then it's the first year. Usually I'll be honest, usually the comments are pretty positive when I'm reading them. This is the first year in the comment section I've seen a lot of people just not excited for next season. I feel like it's small sample size because it's just my channel, but like I feel like that doesn't bode well for NASCAR going into the future. The ratings bump that they've been enjoying might be short lived. I think in NASCAR, not putting practice or qualifying on TV was a bad idea. It certainly doesn't help. BB, what did you think of the Truck Series race and the Xfinity Series aftermath? Says Crystal Sparkles. I mean, I think it was just emotions were really high, but I didn't see where either driver did anything super egregious to be like dealt with like either way like that. So I don't know. I think it was just frustration, playoff type frustration, but I don't think Eckes did anything super out of the way because I've seen the Gray Kid drive like that too, and the Gray Kid and Eckes have had sort of issues in the past. And the Xfinity thing to me really was a nothing burger. So I don't know. And the worst part is if he hadn't thrown the punch, he probably comes off better because after he's just going to get memed for that punch for the rest of his life. So that was I don't know, Chandler Smith. I still don't see what he was really super upset about with Cole Custer there. So I don't know. It just a bump and run type deal. So I don't know. We are all bots in 2022, says Rodney Collier. Let's see. I think DQ the 24, the 20, and the 5 gets in the final 4, says Raymond Bailey. I mean, that he would be the next man up, but I think a lot of people, because it's another Hendrick car or another Chevrolet car, I'm saying go just 3 cars in the final 4 because either way, whoever you put in there, people are going to have a problem with. So I think the best move, I'm a Larson fan. I'd love for them to put Larson in there. Don't get me wrong, but I think the fairest thing, pulling the fandom out of it, is just to have 3 cars because that way nobody that manipulated the race gets a car in. I think that's really the only fair thing to do. What's up, Lovey? Good to see you on here. Easy fix is let's go back to Martinsville and have a do-over race, says Joseph Wooten. So Joseph Wooten just right back since they cheated there. BB, what do you think of the Truck Series racing? Oh, I just read that one. Let's see. 3 fights this weekend: Eckes Gray, Custer Smith, fans versus drivers versus the playoffs. Indeed, it's that's the fans versus drivers versus playoffs. That's a triple threat. Hell in a cell right there right now. We are all bots in 2022, says Rodney Collier. What's up, Rodney? I saw him at the track this weekend. Good dude. Always good to hang out and chat with him. Reddick is the world's favorite. A title while suing the sport would be epic. Yeah, I forgot that I mentioned that angle in there too. That would definitely really rub NASCAR the wrong way. You better believe if he wins the championship, they're going to tear his car all the way down and make sure it's not illegal. Byron Championship also has the Sim Racer storyline. It would, but I think it would get like overshadowed because people would be like, Hendrick cheated to get in, because there's definitely a lot of anti-Hendrick sentiment, which I get. I totally understand it 100%. Let's see. Facts, 3 fights. LOL, says Crystal Sparkles. Byron was so talented. And don't forget apparently the hauler drivers had a little melee as well. Byron was so talented that he led a super speedway pack in Martinsville. Yeah, he was doing massive blocking there. He's just so good. He showed him everything he learned on the sim there. What's going to happen with the SHR charters now that NASCAR lowered the car entry next year? Does it even matter with the lawsuit going on now? I saw somebody say that they thought that the charters would still the sale of the charters would still go through. So I think that's still going to be according to them, it's still going to go through. It's just we'll have to see. We'll have to see what the judge announces. I was hoping the judge would announce something today, but I guess it's going to be later this week. It's official. This season has an asterisk, but the championship had an asterisk since the knockout format was introduced. Says Chrome Diesel. A lot of people I feel like that. BB, with Chandler Smith not having a ride for next year, wouldn't be stupid to dump Custer. I don't think he would get a Ford ride after that, says Bruce Garvey. Yeah, so that's the thing about Chandler Smith. I know he said he's going to get him back and all this other stuff. I don't think he will, because he's still looking for a ride, and you don't want to have that hanging over your head when you're looking for a ride. I said it live on the stream. 1 and 3 were blocking because they were Chevy. It was clearly obvious. Yeah, and I just wasn't really paying attention to it because it was up on the big screen, and I was looking at Blaney because I was like, the only way he's going to lose is if he cuts a tire. And it's been such a crazy season. I was like, is Blaney going to cut a tire? So I was kind of looking at that, and then it was just so odd because like Bubba Wallace was going like 30 miles per hour slower than everybody else at points in the race, and I was like, well, it's pretty obvious what he's doing, but I didn't really. When I was there live, I didn't really focus in on what was going on with the 24 car. I thought they were just showing the 24 car because he was going to be the last man into the points. So I thought that's why they were showing him. I wasn't really paying attention to him holding 2 cars back or anything like that, because I just assumed he was holding 2 cars back. I didn't think about in the moment sitting in the stands without a radio or anything like that. Oh, they're holding back, or he wasn't blocking them. Like it was, I just didn't think about it because I was looking at the lead. I was seeing if Blaney was going to blow a tire or something, and Chase Elliott was going to win, because if Chase Elliott had won that race, I was like, I'm going to film that because these people are going crazy. Like I was sitting in like a huge Chase Elliott fan section. I was like, they literally might tear this fence down if Chase Elliott wins this race. So I was like, if Blaney blows that tire, they are going to erupt and go crazy. So I was kind of focusing on that to get that reaction for the channel. That obviously didn't happen, but you did see on the channel, you didn't hear the audio because I just played the clip. That was a huge, when I showed Blaney going around, that was a huge reaction from the fans. Blaney got a huge reaction from the fans. It was a huge pop for him. And the other interesting thing being there live was during interviews or driver introductions, Austin Dillon got a huge pop from the fans, and I wasn't expecting that. And who was the other one? Harrison Burton got one, but that was for the Wood brothers. William Byron got a huge pop from the fans too. I wasn't really expecting that, but then somebody told me that Liberty University is just right up the road, so that might be why he was getting that pop for the car, because he had the Liberty car there. NASCAR needs Ryan to win the championship. The 22 and the 24 equals controversy. 45 lawsuit. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair enough statement. So either the 12, the 22, or the 24, they'll definitely, if the 45 wins, I'm sure they'll take a strong look at it. Indy Oval, really, says Krusty. That is a fan submission. It's not my submission. Southside Speedway. So Krusty wants Southside Speedway. Good evening, says Shah. What's up, Shah? Good to see you on here. Hey, Shah, says Bumblebee. Like, dislike, what's up, says on the go with CeeLo. None of the above, says Krusty. NASCAR is trash. BB, will you and the team 100% effort anytime we hit I will give you and the team 100% effort anytime we hit the track for testing purposes. No doubt about it, my friend. I had no doubt about that. B saying HMS sucks, being sarcastic. Krusty, laughing stock. Let's see. CeeLo did say live during the race, it was obvious that the team Chevy was following orders and blocking. It was very obvious to most true fans, says Lloyd Barnes. I mean, I'm sure it was if you were watching it on TV, but like at the track, I was just watching. I was watching what I want to at the track, so it is what it is. If not already, says Krusty, I want Reddick to win, so NASCAR has to feel with a team winning and defending the championship next year without a charter. And also I want to see if NASCAR would actually go out there and give him the trophy, because there were reports that no NASCAR official went out there, at least from the front office, and gave him the regular season trophy. Team orders have ruined plate racing already, says Robert Stone. Like, dislike, good call, B. HMS sucks. Bruce Garvey, if Reddick does have an out clause, how many teams dump a driver to sign him? I don't think it's going to come to that. Like, I think that's just politicking and angling, but I don't think it'll actually come to all that. Reddick winning would be funny to see NASCAR have to handle promoting him, says Lloyd Barnes. Indeed, it would. Late to the show. Hey, y'all. What's up, Mark Barnum? Good to see you on here, my friend. The fact that we had a damn good short track race for 490 laps for the first time in a couple years was great. I hate it's being overlooked for the last 10. Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is though. This is the direction they want to go. B saying RCR sucks. Glad Ross is appealing. Didn't hear him say anything on the radio. Austin Dillon did all the talking. Says Dirty Deaf. So apparently Ross is going to appeal. I didn't think NASCAR gave harsh enough penalties today, especially for the three teams. Says Lovey. That makes me. What makes me sad is we've had some amazing races this year. I agree. I agree. It was actually a great Martinsville race that got a black eye because of this charter chaos and phony playoffs. What a week for NASCAR. I couldn't have said it better myself, Napa. The last track could be a raffle. All tracks going to hat. Give it 1 week break from the pick track to get ready, and teams as well. Maybe 2 weeks or to start the second round. They pick. Says Shaw. Maybe they should park all three teams for that race. I mean, I think that would definitely send a message, or at least park the drivers and make them put a backup driver in there. It's a terrible look for NASCAR since Truex played no active part in Spingate, yet got booted. Says Charlotte. Yeah, it doesn't, as far as that goes, it doesn't seem like the same penalty from that particular deal. That's how I feel. CeeLo says Lloyd. When I started watching NASCAR in '07, I didn't know there was a chase. I was more focused on how Jeff Gordon performed every week, says Chrome. Pat McAfee for president, says Krusty. It makes a great storyline for the sequel to Days of Thunder, says Glenn Park. Baloney for VP under the Pat McAfee regime. Logano would statistically be the Quest champion of all time, says Napa. BB, I went back to 2022 championship race where Logano was leading and Blaney followed him the entire race and refused to pass. Roger Penske told Ryan on the radio with 10 to go to be Joey's wingman. Yeah, so it definitely happens all the time. That's what I'm saying. NASCAR needs to make a very clear rule about it. So until NASCAR makes a very clear rule about it, it's going to be a judgment call. And that, like I said, that's the biggest problem with NASCAR's rule book. Too many judgment calls. Blaney was running faster times than behind Joey. My point is, this happens more often. It happens all the time. That's what I'm saying. But this was egregious. This was as bad as it gets. So I don't know. They need to do something. Either allow it and don't penalize, or write clear rules specifying exactly what you can and cannot do, and then figure out how to enforce them. Either park all three teams or suspend the drivers. Then it would have more validity. I don't disagree with you at all, Lloyd. I'm with you. And I think we should only have 3 cars in the Final Four as well, because otherwise the 24 car is not getting penalized for the race manipulation, even though he didn't necessarily have anything to do with it. It was Chevrolet, basically team orders or manufacturer orders. Napa Racing fans saying the worst. Pat McAfee makes sports talk entertaining along with the guys, even if it's a regular sports show. I don't need all the dang on yelling. I know that it's silly and said it 100 times on stream. Yeah, the yelling, just screaming over top of each other, it gets old after a while, and it's been going on forever. So that's one style. What is it? Mike and Mad Dog, that was their deal back in the day. It's going to show for the clash. Says on the go with CeeLo. Clint was penalized big time for Spingate. Indeed, hurricane heading toward Texas. Hope Phoenix isn't affected. Yeah, hopefully just nobody's affected. Hopefully it dissipates and doesn't cause any more damage, because we've had a ton of just natural disasters and calamities here recently. So hopefully nobody else has to go through run. Remember, don't pass him, Jones, when Eric was told not to pass Denny. Indeed, the 20 rode behind the 11. Happens all the time. Appreciate you. Read all the comments, bro. So anti-NASCAR, says Krusty. I hope Martin Truex Jr. wins Phoenix. But at the same time, I want Kyle Busch to keep the streak alive. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. There's a lot going on at Phoenix, honestly, beyond the championship as well. So, yeah. And, I do try to read all of them, Krusty, so no problem. I love you too, Krusty. No problem, my friend. Love you, Barkley. 2024 has had a lot of good races that are going to be on TV 15 to 20 years from now. I think so too. They've had some great finishes. Just some of the finishes are going to be Alzheimer's this season for sure. But the playoffs have been I don't know. I don't want to say exposed, because a lot of people have known about this could happen for a long time. But I guess the people that weren't thinking about it have finally seen how bad they can be manipulated. I think Gray was upset that he didn't do it to Eka, says on the go with CeeLo. Yeah, I agree with you, but the way that they've raced each other in the past, Christian Eckes had no he had no he had no thought to think that Gray wouldn't rough him up at some point because that's how they've raced in the past. So I don't know. I don't know. It goes back further than that one race, but if you want to take that one race snip of it, yeah, I can see where he's coming from. But it is what it is. Eckes has made his bed. Now he's got to lie in it because I'm pretty sure Gray's going to wreck him at Phoenix. So we'll see what happens there. BB, I'm going to try to gather content from the place where they're having the trial there in Charlotte Friday. Hopefully, I can get Jordan to answer some questions from me. Well, good luck with that, Jamie Schweitzer. I hope you do get some. I hope you get some answers and let us know where you post it, and we'll all go over there and follow it for you, my friend. I don't think Taylor Gray is a bad driver. Seems to be consistent. He's a pretty good driver. He raced at Orange County one race in late model, and he did pretty good there. He finished second. The guy I was spotting for, Chuck Lawson, he won the race. So that's actually Lawson with the LAW, not how Lee Diffie says Larson. So actual Chuck Lawson. Let's see. I'm losing excitement each year that they continue with the mandatory cautions. To me, the best part of the sport is watching how the drivers manage the tires. Indeed, indeed. I do like the fact that the tire wear is actually They actually nailed the tire wear for Martinsville. If they nail the tire wear for Phoenix like they did with Martinsville, we might actually have a really good Phoenix finale. So I am hopeful that hopefully they got that part of it figured out for basically the short track type package. How about Custer? Had a little bit of a black eye. Said he had to put makeup on it for the championship 4 pick, says Dirty Def. So Chandler Smith did at least make contact. I just realized I have not given next season a thought. So I guess I'm not excited about next year, says Shaw. Could be. Or maybe your drivers, maybe you have a driver in the playoffs still. So maybe that's why you haven't thought about next season. Harvick said it best. These are not the championships Earnhardt and Petty won. Well said. Well said. That's definitely how a lot of people look at it. BB, anytime I see video with ESPN involves Stephen A. Smith, I click on the corner of the video and say not interested. Again, don't need the yelling. Yeah, for anybody that gets as big as he gets, you're definitely going to have people that enjoy that style and people that don't enjoy that style, and that's just the way life is. But he's definitely done his thing, and he's definitely been propped up by mainstream media. So, but even outside of mainstream media, he's starting to set his digital footprints on YouTube and other places. So he keeps doing his thing. A lot of people like it. A lot of people don't like it. I feel, but I'm not a big yelling. I'm with you. I'm not a big yelling person either. I feel that the regular season winner should automatically be in the Final Four, says PC Gone Rogue. I wouldn't go that far, but he should have a bigger advantage than or the drivers should have a bigger advantage than what they get currently in this system. Next season is going to be strange with no SHR cars. That is definitely going to be very weird. You cannot punish someone if that person didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, but to be what B brought up earlier, Martin Truex Jr., he didn't do anything wrong, but he got punished in the Michael Waltrip spin gate. So it is what it is. BB, I agree with you. They should just let 3 run for the championship this year and be totally fair. Yeah, I feel like that's the only fair way to do it. They're not going to do that because they're NASCAR, and they're just not. But because NASCAR likes having 3 manufacturers, and let's not overlook that either. NASCAR likes having all 3 manufacturers in the Final Four. Every year. Any new diecasts you're interested in this year? I mentioned this on your streams before, but you give me that Martin Truex Jr. Bass Pro Shops Toyota Camry again at the same time. Tough to choose between the scheme. I don't know. There hasn't really been one that's really caught my eye. The Dale Jr. Bud late model is kind of cool, but I don't know if I'll buy that. So I don't know. Nothing really pressing. I feel NASCAR makes it clear in drivers' meetings to leave the Final Four alone. I don't see any paybacks happening. I don't know. Bubs got punched at Southside Speedway. Shocker, says Krusty. There's video of that too. They had a little scuffle there. Hey, BB, just laying in the weeds listening. Why not disqualify the 24 and move up Larson, says Roger Riggs. Because then you're just going to have that controversy of you just moved another Chevrolet up there, so Chevrolet still gets what they want. So the best way to do it is just to just have 3 cars in there because Chevrolet basically manipulated the outcome of the race as well as Toyota. So you can't put a Toyota in there either. Byron didn't do anything wrong, but yet he did benefit from the help of the other Chevys who did get penalized. Exactly. That's the only fair way of saying it today. So to be fair, Byron should get DQ'd too. I don't disagree with that at all. I think that's 100% accurate because Chevrolet can pay all the fines. These teams can be suspended. You can even suspend the drivers that were involved. But unless the 24 gets a penalty, Chevrolet still got what they wanted. So they'll just look at that as an investment to get a car into the Final Four. Were you surprised Blaney couldn't get by the 6 mid race? I was. Brad had some good speed going on at that time. The 12 looked strong from the center off in 1 and 2. He could throttle up and bump the car ahead off the corner. Yeah, I was waiting for the 12 to get by him, and at one point it looked like the 12 did get by him, and then Brad crossed him over and was able to get back by him. So that was a great battle. Like, that was really cool, and it was really cool to see. I thought Brad was about to win the race, and then I guess his adjustments didn't catch up to the 12 or whatever. Rest in peace, Irwindale Speedway, says Napa Racing fan. BB the judge said he will make his ruling on Friday regarding the injunctions. Okay, Friday is going to be the injunction deal. NFL trade deadline today, plus Aaron Rodgers Tuesday. If you watch Pat McAfee, I'm proud to endorse a non-playoff point system for 2025. Give me more focus on the actual race. I'm with you. I'd love season-long points personally, and not obsessed about the playoffs. Feel the booth commentates on the playoff and not the race. I think so too. I think they overemphasize the playoffs and not what's actually going on the track, because there's more stories to be covered out there. India's way too cold in November, says Robert Stone. Bruce Garvey, I couldn't figure out why Brad didn't take out the 3 and the 24 until TJ Majors said they didn't want to cause a caution with Blaney when Blaney was leading, says Bruce Garvey. And there's also Ryan Blaney ran over an air hose or something like that, and that should have been a penalty. A lot of people are on that too. So there's all kinds of controversy from the Martinsville race. OJ, they took the car for inspection. No tires were low or flat. BB, yeah, they tore Bubba Wallace's car down. There was nothing wrong with it. BB for president, even Freddie Kraft on the radio said none of the tires looked down. Vote BB for president of NASCAR, says Chrome Diesel. With the appeals panel, harsher penalties might get applied depending on what they get. These short track promoters think I would be pretty ticked off if someone tried that at their track. I agree. BB, I hope Lionel makes the new Martin Truex Jr. Phoenix scheme. He is throwing back too. I think they will. I think they will, and I think it'll sell pretty well. So I think that one will actually get made, and it won't be a did not produce. Let's see. I have no issue with the teammates working together, but when it is manufacturers working together, that's manipulation. Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's just a bad look all the way around. Let's see. There's the link for the sweatshirts again from One Wise Guy. I appreciate it. Logano also got t-shirts and hats and stuff too. Logano was lucky horseshoe on even years. I know that sounds odd, but just look back. Yeah, don't count out Logano. He's had the most time to prepare for this. Mike and Mad Dog Nice says in between the lanes, the OGs of sports talk. I think drivers were a horrible spot. They would be punished by the manufacturer if they passed Byron. I hate to say, especially Ross, who has been in trouble before. That's a fair point. That's definitely a fair point, Dirty Duff. Going on a cruise out of Houston on Saturday. Oh man, that's terrible, dude. Hopefully everything clears up and that can go through successfully. The best thing that happened during the playoffs wasn't even an active driver. It was Dale Jr. bringing back the Bud number 8, says Napa Racing fan. There you go. NASCAR should review and rewrite the rule book for next year to make everything black and white. Yeah, get rid of the judgment calls. That's one of the big things NASCAR could do for sure. Bud Wise says Napa Racing fan and One Wise Guy, taking it back to the frogs there. Truex Jr. has a sweet looking paint job for the final race. It is. That's a really good looking car for sure, Lloyd. And that one, I think that one's going to sell pretty well. No doubt in my mind for old Lionel. So Denny, KFB or Keselowski, which is the next to retire full-time cup racing. My guess is Keselowski. That's tough. I'm going to say Denny retires before Keselowski, or they go out on the same year. I think Denny's going to retire first, though. You're right about Chandler Smith. He already has a reputation in the garage. Says on the go with CeeLo. Yep. Indeed, he does. Stephen Emilio Jr., and they also wanted Chevrolet in the Final Four. It's as clear as day. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people are going to say no matter what happens, you're going to have one group saying that they just wanted this or that. So I mean, and it's a fair thing to say unless you take it to 3 cars. If you don't take it to 3 cars in the Final Four because of all the manipulation that happened, you're going to get that pushback from people. I'd love to see how NASCAR fixes this debacle of last weekend, which exposed the whole mess we now call NASCAR. They've painted themselves into a corner, unfortunately. Yeah. And once again, overall, this particular playoff system is basically what caused it. So it's the drivers and manufacturers are reacting to the playoff system in front of them, and no matter what you do, until you get rid of the cutoff race for the final championship race, you're going to have this because it's always going to be worth the risk to the manufacturers. Woo, Jet MDK, great channel by the way. Check him out if you haven't. If I remember from his last video on the Martinsville finish with Byron and Bell situation, Phil Bell should have been in. Okay, so he wanted Bell in. That was sort of a chintzy wall ride, but letter one of the an actual written in ink rule, black and white, no wiggle room. He did gas up on the wall, and that's how NASCAR has the rule written. So unfortunately, he has to suffer for the Ross Chastain wall ride there. So and it's a safety issue, so you can't even challenge it or whatever. Kyle Lawson says, Rosie, what's up, Rosie? Good moments from this year were Atlanta, Bristol, Daytona, Homestead, Vegas, 1 and 2, Kansas 1, Talladega 2, Darlington 2, Michigan, and of course, last week at Martinsville. Martinsville was a great race, ruined by some shenanigans, some tomfoolery at the end. I thought the Martinsville track was located in Martinsville, Virginia, Ridgeway, Virginia, but it's Martinsville. It's all the same deal. I think Cole's black eye comment is a little shade being thrown. LOL, says Bumblebee. Could be because he literally got hit and started laughing. So not a good look for Chandler Smith, his MMA career. What goes around comes around. Watch out, Ekus, says Jean-Louis Rousseau. Hopefully I said that right. Let's see. I still don't know how I feel on who should have gotten in, Bell or Byron. Making it a championship 5 would have been funnier. Adding like Gordon Chase after Spingate, says Napa Racing fan. People would really melt down about that too. So either way, I don't know. What was worse, Spingate or Martinsville? I lean Martinsville mainly because of the format. Yeah, I think the format is definitely what's causing all this. The drivers are reacting to it. Now, the drivers shouldn't have done what they did. I'm not taking their culpability out of it, but as long as there's that big of a reward, people are going to do what they've got to do to get that reward. Just break down the that's why I referenced Willy Wonka, because it really just reminded me of Willy Wonka and all those people going crazy trying to get that golden ticket. Just break down. So now it's the Willy Wonka playoffs on this channel. Just break down the game for sports topics without yelling, and I'll be fine with that. Yeah, because and the yelling is just fake. Like there's no way they're that passionate about every topic. That's what irritates me about it. It just seems really fugazi. Penske car is going to win the championship. That's a Donnie Brasco reference, by the way, not a Kevin Harvick podcast reference. They're always strong at this track. And I'm with you. I'm with you on that, by the way, bros. I stopped watching. Yes, so a lot of people have said that. I'm not gonna talk about that because I'm not talking about politics today. So let's see here. I voted for removing the playoffs today, says Napa Racing fan. So that was his write-in. Toyota sweeps Phoenix. I'm calling it BB. Taylor Gray Trucks, Creed or Smith Xfinity, Truex Junior Cup. I don't blame the manufacturers, blame the game. The playoffs have too many loopholes that allowed this to happen. 100% agree. My cat Jim for president. So there we go. We're going Jim the Cat Allison for president. Cat Daddy Jim. So Cat Daddy Jim for Prez. I feel you there, Gina. And once again, Gina, your boy had a good run going, but they didn't get the lug nut attached. It was definitely I told everybody he had top 10 to top 15 speed, and then the wheel came off, literally. Kevin Harvick said that the driver who wins the regular season should get an automatic bid. I disagree with that, but he should get more points for winning the regular season than they currently get. And second place should get an automatic bid to the Final Four, third to the 16. I think Kevin Harvick's just still salty about like 2019 or whatever year that he won all those races and didn't win the championship. So I do think that opinion is shaded by that. I definitely think they have suspended the 1, the 3, and the 22 drivers too. Then they really would have get the point. I think that would. I agree with you, OJ. I think they probably should have suspended the drivers as well. I said that because NASCAR is in court right now. They probably took 27 minutes because they were on the phone with their lawyers. It could be. Brad K manipulating the race because Blaney was leading. That wasn't racing as hard as he could either. Says Dirty Def. Harvick's proposal is going to make the playoffs more complicating. We don't need new rules. We need less of it. We just need clear rules, like just less judgment calls overall. Add that Martin Truex Jr. throwback scheme this weekend to the diecast list for me. Bring back George Michael's sports machine, says one wise guy. That's old school wise. I don't know how many people remember that one. 30 for 30 did a documentary on Mike and the Mad Dog. I'll have to check that one out. I hadn't seen that one yet. Glad penalties were handed out for manipulation. Regardless, the championship four is still the same. In the end, it changes nothing. Speaking of Martinsville controversy, Larson was definitely speeding when he slid past Eric Jones on pit entry, and he actually passed Jones for a brief moment, and nothing was said about it, says Lovey Barkley. Hey, so there you go. I didn't see that one either. A lot of this stuff's hard to see from the stands without the benefit of TV. The playoffs suck big time, says Gentry Debbie. Agree. Denny retires first. If they would have black flagged the 3 and the 1 in the moment, this problem would have went away. That's a fair statement. That's a fair statement. I can't disagree with you there. What about the other Martinsville controversy where they didn't see the 8's tire roll on track, wave the green, and they threw the yellow back out? Shouldn't have went green in the first place. Yeah, that was pretty funny because I was up there pointing at the tire and they're going green, and I'm like, what is happening right now? That was insane. That I did catch. Like I caught that like immediately. BB, did you watch the Manning cast? Every once in a while, I'll check it out. How do you miss the tire rolling on the track at Martinsville out of all places? I agree. It's pretty obvious. Brad isn't going to retire as long as he's competitive. I think so too. As Lloyd let me know this. As you know, NASCAR Drive is going to HBO Max next year. They did say they will have more camera angles. Hey, there you go. There you go. Jeff, your little boy is looking for a ride, says Jamie Schweitzer. How did the fans at the track react to what was going on? There was not really after the race. There was a lot of people were talking trash. A lot of people were talking trash after the race. Nobody was happy except for the Ryan Blaney fans. Like everybody was just talking stone cold trash, especially for the 30 minutes where it took them like 30 minutes or whatever to figure out who was actually in. People were talking pure junk, dude. It was pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. And that's actually when I started hearing people say, oh, the threes radio. They kept talking about the radio. So apparently there was something like that's when I did the live stream. That's what I was talking about when I heard something about the radios. We have some good cars for Phoenix between Bubba and Star Wars, Jimmy with his Cactus Sunset Cowboy looking car, and Truex with the DEI throwback that hopefully Teresa doesn't mind. I think she's okay. BB with my SVG. My SVG friends are mad at Blaney still using his bumper to get around him. They're mostly F1 folk though, and they don't understand that NASCAR is fine with rubbing his racing. Yeah, I think part of that is they're just pulling for their dude. So I think even with the bumping, I think they're just pulling for their guy. I think that's not necessarily an F1 thing. That's just them pulling for their guy. William Wagaman giving the angry face here over the NASCAR stuff. I think since I can't stream the races this weekend, BB should do it. Says on the go with CeeLo. I don't know. Maybe I don't have a TV in here where I could watch the race simultaneously with the live stream. So I need to get a second screen. Although, yeah, I don't think I can do that in this room because I'm working on some other stuff for another place to do the streams from. Dale Jr. was the guy, so maybe we'll get 2 screens in that one for future fill-ins for CeeLo. Dale Jr. was the guy who pointed out that Custer had a bit of a black eye. Says Dirty Death. Great idea. BB needs to do the stream this weekend, says Lloyd. A championship isn't even earned over the full season, really. It's more like a sweepstakes if you get in good luck. If you had an issue, that one race back next year, ridiculous, says Napa Race fan. Yeah, it's like I said, it's the Willy Wonka playoffs. You got to win a golden ticket. Let's see, 6 Martinsville hot dogs down this past weekend. Same number here, my friend. Over about 12 or 13 hours. Heim time is going to win the truck championship. Says in between the lanes. Indeed, a lot of people, a lot of the Ford camp think that the 98 there is going to get it done. Cat Daddy Jim, OUBB says Gina Allison, Cat Daddy Jim for president. That was what was so great about sports. You have to show up for the postseason, show up when it matters. Letarte says that may be stick and ball sports, but it's not auto racing. Yeah, auto racing, you got to show up every race. That's how it used to be. So, and nobody had a problem with it back then. Napa, they just wanted wins to count for more points. That was all the fans were asking for. Irwindale track, closer than Mesa Marin, all disappearing. Kern County Raceway, still a fast short track race there. Fair amounts. Either Austin Hill or Stone Cold Custer wins Xfinity. I'm picking Custer to win Xfinity as well. Either Reddick or Blaney for the Cup championship. Says in between the lanes. I'm going to go with one of the Penske drivers for the championship in Cup. The championship has become a mockery instead of a celebration, says Napa Racing Fan. Yes, unfortunately, another track is closing, says Napa. BB, did you ever watch or listen to NASCAR Daily with Shannon Spade? I caught the first couple of episodes. I don't know if they're still doing it or not, but it seemed pretty solid. Damn, thanks for the info, says E. Damon Racing. If y'all could say a quick prayer for my boss, Brady Pryor. Just found out he passed away. Oh, that's terrible, OJ. He did a lot for me in my life. Super sad. He was a super cool person. Without question, man. Thoughts and prayers for Mr. Brady there. That's crazy. I hate that you're going through that, man. You know how to reach out to me if you need to talk. Thank goodness the season is over. Rowdy Nation says Gina Allison. Been a rough year for the Rowdy bunch. And then there's some prayer emojis here for OJ from Napa, Lloyd, Crystal, Gina, and some others here. Rest in peace, Brady, says E. Damon. KFB did say he plans on retiring once his boy turns 13. Not sure what year that would be, says Jamie Schweitzer. Oh, that's pretty close. I don't think he's maybe 4 or 5 years away from that. Condolences, also says Crystal. Do you have picks for trucks, Xfinity? I know you usually do Cup on Sunday morning. I don't really have. For Xfinity, I'm going to pick Cole Custer to win the championship. Trucks, I'm just not as familiar with, so that's more of a crapshoot for me in trucks. I don't know. That's a tough call in trucks. Jamie Brexton, KB's son, was born in 2015, and I'm bad at math. KB retirement 2028, says Gina Allison. Rest in peace, Brady. All three drivers should be suspended for Phoenix and Daytona because what the hell good is the point? A slap on the wrist, basically. I mean, that's not going to do anything for them, says William Wagman. Yeah, I don't understand why the drivers aren't sitting either. That's a little bit of a head scratcher to me as well. BB Martinsville stands looked pretty sparse in comparison to previous years. Dude, it was packed. Like I don't know what they were showing on TV, but it was definitely sold out. It was packed. You couldn't move in there. So I don't know. There was a really long line in the bathroom. I'll tell you that. So maybe that was part of it, but I promise you that place was packed. That's the most people I've ever seen at Martinsville. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe it was the TV angles, but it looks like it wasn't even close to sold out. Same thing last week too, says E. Damon. It was. I promise you, Martinsville was sold out. I can't speak about last week because I wasn't there, but dude, Martinsville was. There was tons of people there. It was as crowded as I've ever seen it. First trip to Martinsville in my camper, getting it level was a challenge. It's some rough terrain there, Delmer. Lesson learned: bring more leveling blocks. Lucky I had a great camper neighbors to help me out. Hey, that's what the sport's all about. Always somebody to chip in and help you out. BB filling in for CeeLo would be like Howard Cosell filling in on the George Michael sports machine. Howard Cosell here for the Jets and the Raiders. That's my best Howard Cosell. That's all I got. California is never coming back, says like dislike. A lot of people think that they're not going to build the track there, so we'll see. 2024 championship is a given. Fate dictates that Logano wins it, so there you go. It's going to be another Logano championship. Say Shaw, the championship today is an irritation. Winning a race became transactional, says Chrome Diesel. The best part of all this nonsense going on is NASCAR is that for once I don't care because Joey's going to win at Phoenix and stamp number 3. With that aside, what a mess. Indeed. Dirty Death praying for you as well there, OJ. Truck, Ekis, Xfinity, Allgaier Cup, Byron will be gifted a championship thanks to Bill scraping the wall. So there you go, Napa, with a detailed explanation as to how William Byron is going to win the championship. I was there. The stands were pretty full, close to a sellout, says Delmer. Yeah, from where I was sitting, and I couldn't see the front stretch, so maybe that's what you're talking about. I couldn't see all of the front stretch, but it looked sold out to me. But I don't know. A lot of times when it doesn't look sold out, there's just a lot of people walking around in the concourse there at the bottom, I guess. If Daytona if Byron wins, Bill should be listed as part of the championship team. He helped the 24 get there. I guess the same thing could be said with the 22. Did they give a shout out to the 48 there? Same with the 1 and the 3, by the way, says Napa Racing Fan. It feels weird seeing front sections of seats gone in turns 1 and 2, says Chrome Diesel. Indeed. Gina says, peace to you all and love. Try a Martinsville hot dog. We have nice bathrooms. It was some people got aggressive with the hot dogs apparently, or they should have known that they can't handle that particular I don't want to call it a food, but substance that you put in your mouth and eat, I guess. I don't know. That sounded any better. Forget streaming the race. You should do real-time commentary. That would take the channel to the next level. We all come here for your opinion. Why not here during the race? Could be a big winner. I don't know. Something I'll have to think about. I don't know if I've got, oh man, that would be like 6 hours of talking. I don't know if I've got enough voice to do that. On speed, I would pick Reddick and then Blaney for Cup. Something tells me Byron will somehow win it because that's NASCAR. It's been a crazy season. So I don't know who will win it. I'm leaning toward the Penske cars, but just the way this season has been controversial, I feel like it'll be the most controversial way the race could end is probably what's going to happen. If Reddick wins the championship, everyone that works for NASCAR is going to simultaneously facepalm as he exits turn 4. I could definitely see that. Eggus Allmendinger and Ryan F. and Blaney, says Crystal Sparkles. Lovey Barkley, I wouldn't mind Logano championship either, just because that would make people mad. Yeah, I think whoever wins in these situations, people will find a way to somehow the other fan bases will find ways to be mad about it. Your Earth 2 prediction for the championship race, BB. Mine is Ty Gibbs wins the race. I'm going to go with a conservative pick with like a Josh Bilicki win or something like that. Joey had it locked up. He's got the maturity, the emotional temperament, and he knows how to win when it matters. And he's got 2 weeks to prepare. The 2 weeks to prepare is a big deal. I agree with you on that. Late race restart coming because NASCAR loves restarts. I don't disagree with you, Chrome. Heim, Custer, Logano is going to be Lloyd Barnes picks. I would prefer Reddick, though, honestly. So he wants Reddick to win, but he's going to go with a Logano win there. I'm with you on that, Lloyd. I think the 2 weeks for Logano gives him a slight advantage here for sure. A new addition to the Martinsville hot dogs is X-Lax. Bubba and Reddick looking for a ride next year. After the judge ruling, says Delmer Kaufman. I think that's just posturing from 2311. BB, that's awesome to hear about Martinsville. They showed a pick around the middle of the race. And it sounds like a lot of stands appeared empty, but it may just be stage breaks. People got up. Yeah, for sure. Anytime the caution flag flew or anything like that, people like shot up and immediately went to the bathroom and stuff like that. So if they showed it under a stage break, that's probably more than likely what happened. But it was just being there live. It was as packed as it could be. Next time I go, I need to take a crowd shot so that like you can see the actual crowd before like a caution comes out or something like that. Imagine all 4 of the championship 4 get wrecked together. That would be crazy. The cameras would go to the infield care center. TV dramatizes the event to sort out the running order. So suspenseful. Indeed. NASCAR would probably immediately make a rule. Like whoever gets their car back out first, they would waive the 5-minute rule. Like they would do something insane. Autobots roll out, says Chrome Diesel. I'm pulling for Truex to win the final race, though, in that sweet-looking ride. It would be cool to go out that way. Does Bubba not have an opt-out for the charter? Seems like they only mentioned Reddick, says Say Kyle. I don't think that's even anything to worry about. I think they'll both be back. My boy Joey will win the championship. Take it to the bank, says Jamie Schweitzer. TV interviews the first driver out of the infield care center. TV interviews him, first of all. Are you okay? Second of all, you won the championship. Isn't that great? Says Napa Racing Fans. That could be a scenario for sure. Earth 2, one of the championship 4 cars, racers wins them the race, but disqualified for the championship. What section were you in? I was in the Glenwood Tower. I was in section AA, so I was about 3 sections over from you there, Delmer. Logano had the worst season. Reddick, basically, I was sitting in turn one. Logano basically had the worst season. Reddick is 23-11. Byron stole a spot, and then there's Blaney. As long as Blaney does not win, it's bad for NASCAR. Says Tennessee Whiskey. Yeah, I can't necessarily disagree with you there because, like I said, somebody's gonna have some ammunition for any of those other guys that I wreck. Who's your favorite Transformer? Mine is Optimus Prime. Says Chrome Diesel. Uh, I liked Bumblebee and Firefly back in the day when they were the Volkswagen Beetles. Those were probably my two favorites. Optimus Prime, obviously, always everybody's favorite. Starscream though, he was really cool because I was really into jets when I was a little kid. Oh my God, Harrison Burton and LaJoy wrecked in front of the field, and after staying out to lead the pack on the restart and all of the championship four wreck and come to a rest, all dead even with each other. That would be it. That's what fans crave. That's what we want to see. Uh, then TV will interview the winner of the race. Congrats for not being. Yeah, while the cars are going by, they'll just go out there to the start finish line and interview them. Congrats for not being in the playoffs. You're a non-playoff driver. You won. Congrats for not being in the playoffs. I always found the Transformer Starscream or whatever his name is was a headband guy next to Megatron. If you just listen to his dialogue, it's hilarious from back in the day, says E. Damon Racing. Did you get to? I think that's why I liked him too. He was always saying some crazy mess. Did you get to see Transformers 1? I haven't seen any of them since like the original. Like I didn't even see it when they went to the Dinobots. Dang, I wish I could meet you, BB. Any BB flags in your merch shop? Not yet, but it's something we're thinking about doing. We just got to figure out the best way to do it. So it's on the back burner along with the tank tops and the zip up hoodies, or full zip hoodies. Will Chevrolet win the manufacturer's points on Sunday? Oh yeah, they got that. They pretty much got that locked up. My favorite Transformer is Soundwave, and I was hoping we'd talk about Transformers on here one day. Says Lovey Barkley. The guys at work say like I was doing a Dr. Claw voice, but apparently Dr. Claw sounds like he sounds like Megatron because the same guy does the voice. So I'll do the voice here. I don't know. I can only do it in like Inspector Gadget because I don't know what like I can't remember what Megatron would say, but like I'll get you, Gadget, next time. Next time. They say I sound like Megatron, but like I'm trying to do Dr. Claw, so I don't know. That's the best Megatron, I guess, that I've got, or Dr. Claw, however you want to look at it. Let's see. How about Eckes? He called and apologized to Rhodes because he hit him twice, but didn't call Gray because he knew he wasn't going to listen. That's probably a fair statement. I still feel bad for Ross after winning Kansas. Here he wins a race and he gets told that he's not in the playoffs. Appreciate the tank tops, says one wise guy. No problem, man. We're working on some real ones. Bay vs. Transformers was cool. I feel like it ran off course after the Dark Side of the Moon. I did see that one, so that's as far as I made it. Dr. Claw was our first introduction to death metal vocals as a children. Indeed, my friend. I didn't think why could NASCAR find Chevy 100 manufacturers points. Ford wins the title. That could be a scenario for sure. Chevy apparently is not expected to be as competitive as Toyota or Ford in 2025. From what I've seen, I don't think they will be. I mean, Hendrick will be, but Chevrolet overall, they look like they've been off this year, not counting Hendrick. Dirty Def saying that was a perfect Dr. Claw. Appreciate it, man. They said I sounded like Megatron. I was like, I'm pretty sure I've been practicing that my whole life, man. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's Dr. Claw. But then we looked it up, and the guy that did the voice for Dr. Claw also did the voice for Megatron. And then I was like, that's crazy. So now I've been going like sort of on side quests, like who does the voice for this, and who else do they do voices for? So I went on like a little side mission looking up stuff like that. 2 races round 16 and 2 races round 12, 3 races 3 8 3 races champ, and at least 30 points for the season champ, says David Stott. So that's how he would do it. You need to cast Dr. Claw and Megatron, says Chrome Diesel. I got to charge my phone. Good night. Take them easy, Lovey Barkley. Thanks for hanging out with us. Voting for BB as best news podcast tonight, says Bruce Garvey. Thanks. I appreciate it. Well, been a miserable season for it has been a terrible season for the 43. 100%. I'll agree with you on that one. Frank Welker was the original Megatron. Take him easy, Lovey. Thank you there. And that is the guy's name, so I appreciate that. Bowman Gray put in safer barriers. already to narrow the track. Oh, that's gonna it's gonna be so bad. Hopefully it's good. I think it's gonna be so bad though. Clash will be interesting next year, says Napa Racing fan. Thanks for another great live, BB Team Penske. I think you got a good shot there with Team Penske. They need to get Will Ramos from Lorna Shore to do Dr. Claw if we ever get an Inspector Gadget reboot or live action adaptation. Didn't I think Steve Carell or somebody did a I'm gonna look it up. I think we did get a live action Inspector Gadget. Oh yeah, 1999. Oh no, it was Ferris Bueller. Ferris Bueller as Inspector Gadget. I knew it was somebody that wasn't tall. That's the only thing I remember because Inspector Gadget was pretty tall, and the guy playing him, he just it is what it is. Let's see. So did Craig extend your season? Indeed. I think we got two more races. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not in my off season yet. Let's see. 1999 though was the live action Inspector Gadget. There, say Kyle. Let's see. I'll get you Gadget, says Dirty Death. I think Hendrick and Hendrick Jr., aka Spire, will be fine next year. I think Spire will be fine. I'm with you. I think they'll get full advantage of that, and I think Hendrick will be fine. But yeah, I think the other Chevrolet teams are going to be in a tough spot. If the injunction doesn't go up through, you think 23 and 11 and Front Row Motorsport will show up for the Clash? Ooh, that's a good question. I hadn't even thought about that. I think they will though, because they'll be tied. They'll be tied to that with sponsors. Uh, I'd wish to look at non-playoff standings, but the only thing I value today is stats, says Chrome Diesel. I still feel bad for Busher. Oh yeah, Busher caught it the worst this year. He's like fifth in points and didn't make the playoffs. Like fifth in like sort of natural old school points. He had the closest second place finish in history, and another really close second place this year. Couldn't get in the playoffs, but he said he's not a fan of points racing. I forgot about that live action the same way people forget about Sinbad movie Shazam. Says say Kyle. The championship has that's like one of those fruit of the loom things. Like, was he really in that movie or not? I can't remember what the outcome was for it. Let's see. The championship has become a stat, nothing more, says Napa Racing fan. Yeah, yeah. For a lot of people, I agree. What's your plans for the championship, or is it a track weekend? Yeah, I'll be at Hickory this weekend, most likely. Uh, so race weekend, it'll just be Sunday. I'll just be watching Sunday. Thank you, BB. Let's go Niners and have a great championship weekend. Appreciate you there, Crystal. And hopefully the Niners continue their forward momentum here. Did you watch the old show called Get Smart? I did like this, like Maxwell Smart here. I don't know if that was a good impression, but I love that show. Uh, I saw a couple of tweets from Denny Hamlin today on X. Has anybody actually read what he writes? I wonder whether or not he actually finished junior high school, says E. Damon. So E. Damon, not a fan of Denny Hamlin's communication skills either. I was making fun of Mike Ford being director of communications and having things misconstrued earlier. So E. Damon says Denny Hamlin could easily have things misconstrued. Thanks, BB. Have a good night, says Dirty Def. You have a good one too. Panthers won. Unbelievable, says Delmer Kaufman. 2014 had an average 4.5 million per race. Now it's 2.4 to 2.5. Left the sport. Will Ford pronounce them bots as well? LOL, says Chrome Diesel. They could. And it looks like we've reached the end of it here. Final poll results. 41% for Homestead, 18% for Vegas, 10% for the Indy Oval, 31% for Darlington. And there you go. So Homestead is your winner with 124 votes in. Thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you on the next one. And until then, peace. Take them easy, Delmar. Take them easy, Rosie. Take them easy, Wise Guy. Thanks for dropping the merch link there at the end. All right. I'm really going now. Where am I?